Stories are based off of your grandfather. Talk a little bit about that for me.
Yeah, he fought in the war from 1916 onwards. He was 17 years old. He enlisted. He chose to enlist, and then regretted it when he arrived, like most of them did. Right. Most of them had a very different idea of what the war would be when they set off to the reality. Partly because it was the last war that wasn't recorded on newsreel footage. You know, it was misreported at home because they didn't want to put people off from enlisting. So they enlisted to a war they thought would be very different. And the stories you told were all fairly shocking, really. There weren't stories of heroism or bravery. There were stories about how lucky he was to have remained alive and how his friends died next to him. And he told one particular story of running through no man's land with a message. And that image of that one man with one message in that vast empty space filled with the dead. That was the image that kept pulling at me, and when I came to write my own script, that was the story I found I wanted to tell. What if that man just kept going?
You know, wanting to make sure that they got it.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful thing that the film's about, is kind of how far you can go in service of someone else. You know, in service for a loved one first and foremost, in service of a friend. Perhaps not in service, that's the wrong word, but for someone. You know, like how far the individual can be stretched by, you know, something outside of them.
And the way the film's shot, the way it was written, I mean, everything about it is to make you feel like you're going on that journey with those two men. That's our dream, or like when I sat down to write, my kind of like hope was that when this film was made, it would feel like 110 minutes in someone else's life.
Right.
That you, the audience, would be fully immersed and almost trapped on this journey with them. And you want them to succeed, you want them to get there, but you really want them to live. Because hopefully you grow to love them.
Right. And you are right. I mean, I mentioned it to Sam, where you all of a sudden, you were in the body of the person you saw. Because there was the one scene where, basically, I think it's almost like running on the rooftop, but it's where he falls through and there's the lady with the baby.
Yes.
Yeah, you're in that guy's head. You're going, you're trying to move to make sure you don't get shot up.
That's good. That's the nicest thing I could ever hear is like someone who worked in a film, is that you feel like you're moving around. Like that's my dream, is like, because that's the films, I love the films I grew up watching.
Right.
I would be like that, be like squirming around in my seat, like, oh my God, am I going to get like ducking out the way when people, like you're raging bull, you're like, oh no.
Oh,
no.
yeah.
And so like to have done that for someone else is like the best thing ever.